And thank you all for taking the time to meet with us today. I think we've got a lot of content to go through, but I'm going to be mindful of your time, and we'll hopefully be delivering a lot of value here. I know a lot of you people on the phone are existing customers, and there's some new customers out, new people that don't know our two companies, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But most of the presentation, I would say 99% of it is related to our topic, or all of it is related to specifically the topic of account-based marketing. So we're going to talk about some of the marketing challenges we face as marketers, how data plays into this, and talk about how we're going to solve some of the integration problems. And throughout this presentation, there's going to be a couple of really good examples about how data is being leveraged to accelerate conversion rates, etc. So first of all, I'll just talk a little bit about account-based marketing and versus traditional marketing. And I think there's some really good arguments for account-based marketing. You know, we go into it, we know who our target companies are, we know we control the direction, we are definitely have a very good dialogue, definitely sales and marketing are aligned right from the start, and there's lots of data available to us to sort of drive the conversation. Unlike traditional marketing, which is you get what you get. Right, and as marketers, sometimes we're in this scenario where we're trying to dress up a not such a hot lead because it kind of came in, but other times, you know, it's a case that we're in the scenario where we're uncovering new diamonds, where you know, maybe we didn't target the specific company or industry, but you know, there is a fit with the products or services we're trying to market and sell. Clearly, with account-based marketing, it's strategic. It's you know, there's a great alignment between sales and marketing. We know what we're trying to achieve. We know how to measure it, etc. Whereas, you know, with traditional marketing, it's reactive, right? We make best efforts to try to get people in the target segment to be attracted to our marketing efforts and convert, etc. But the reality is, like I say, is you get what you get. So even though account-based marketing is you know, it's why it's getting a lot of buzz and has been getting a lot of buzz, specifically with digital marketing and how it relates to account-based marketing, there's a lot of upside to it. It's whenever you can get sales and marketing aligned, it's fantastic, and definitely the promise of account-based marketing is there. But I think there's also some challenges to pull it off. So if account-based marketing is so wonderful, why isn't it the only thing we're doing? And I think it's because of the challenges that face us as account-based marketers. And I think one of the challenges is really trade-offs, right? Unlimited wants, limited resources. We have to make choices. Right, so for example, we have many accounts. Which ones are we going to focus on? We have many, quite often, not just many accounts, many industries we're targeting. As well, one of the limiting factors is one of the more important assets in our marketing strategy is our website, right? And there's only one of them. As marketers, I'm sure as businesses that are trying to maintain profitability and scalability, let's face it, we don't have an infinite marketing budget, so we've got to, again, make choices. And I think on the prospect side of things, the journeys are sometimes increasing in length instead of decreasing, and really because of the availability of data. Like I've been marketing for many years, and before digital marketing was the tool set that we used in a lot of trade shows, etc. But now the data is available, so it's a case that people are doing a lot more investigation to make the right choice, right? And if we think about our marketing assets, it's going to be multi-touch. How do we maintain consistency and congruency throughout the entire engagement process with our prospects? It becomes extremely difficult in a longer journey. If it was a one-step journey, it's very easy. But if it's a longer journey, how do we maintain consistency with the messaging? And this is a big one. I think that let's face it, that you know, digital communications, online buyers, they trust nothing. we've got to start with that scenario that our buyers are not going to be trusting everything, like unlike a brick and mortar where you can see physically see the building, or physical communications if you're talking about boots on the ground marketing. Whereas with digital marketing, like I get emails from brands that I know, for example, PayPal, you know, where I just won't open the email because I don't trust. It's too easy to fake it. So this is something that really is, I think, the biggest challenge we have with account-based marketing is building and maintaining trust through the conversation. So really, if we think about how we accelerate the buyer journey and build trust, I think it's really, and this has never changed no matter what the marketing program is, if we have well-targeted messaging and something that is extremely important, people are getting, this is an expectation, is that we have personalized engagement, and we're giving people what they need in the stage of the buyer journey, and for understanding what their needs are and personalizing the engagement. And hence, I believe that it's really, we're faced with a data problem, right? Because to drive personalization and well-targeting messaging and consistency throughout the entire buyer journey, that we're going to have a data problem. Now, with regards to account, there's lots of different types of data, but with regards to account-based marketing, I've grouped the data into 3 different types of data sets that apply directly to the sales and marketing initiatives in a account-based marketing strategy. And there's speculative, research-based data, behavioral data, and direct engagement data. So if we think about research data, so this we're doing account-based marketing. We know the group of companies we're trying to drive business with. So going in just on the seat of by the seat of our pants isn't going to happen. We're going to do the research, right? So we're either going to hire consultants, we're going to do a bunch of research on the web. Maybe we're going to get a bunch of gray-haired folks that are domain experts, domain experience experts in-house, research firms, whatever. We want to go in with as much data, if you will, with our strategy. And there's also public enrichment APIs, whether it's data.com or LinkedIn or any of these data contact aggregator sites. End of the day, we're going to do a bunch of work on the research side of things. And this is the next type of data is typically ignored, and it is absolutely the most important in an account-based marketing strategy. And it's the behavioral data. So this is the data that comes as a result of a prospect or a client or account, somebody who's an employee of the targeted account. They do stuff, right? And it's their behavioral data that we typically have access to, and it is absolutely one of the more important pieces of data. So where the prospect is, whether they phone, they chat, they click links on websites, spend time on a specific page, somehow describe their because if we think about an account, it's full of people. Each person has their own challenges, has their own initiatives, things that they need to drive to make themselves successful. And if we treat them all as just a member of company Acme Inc., we're going to lose. So it's extremely important to understand and recognize the importance of behavioral data in the account-based marketing strategies. And finally, and this is typically, you know, I'm speaking to the sales folks here, is that this is direct engagement data. So this is when we're actually talking to the client or prospect, where we're understanding who's who in the zoo. You know, the sales people are great sources of data, and it's very important that we're capturing this data from the dialogues with the people where they're actually explicitly stating their interests, their needs, their timelines, etc. And again, this is a very important piece in the account-based marketing strategy. So if we look at, let's look at the process and look at the funnel, and specifically the account-based marketing funnel. So if we look at the segments, you know, we have our target accounts, and these are the ones that we want to do business with, but may not be doing business with or aren't doing business with today. We're not engaged with them, but they're definitely on our radar. And then a little bit further down the funnel, we have the folks that are actively engaged with our marketing and sales activities, but haven't got to the stage where our sales folks have identified a clear opportunity. And then we have the stage of the funnel where the salespeople are engaged and we have a clear opportunity identified. And then we have, of course, the account penetration where we have existing business with an account, and then we're doing retention strategies or trying to increase the depth of the engagement with these accounts. So if we look at this funnel, and what I'm going to do is overlay the data on the funnel and how it actually applies. So clearly, at the top of the funnel, the foundation of all of our communication is the research or metadata. And this is the data where we're going out and, like I say, trying to build the foundation of who these companies are and what we believe is their strategic initiatives, et cetera. So it's really metadata. And what I mean by metadata is it's descriptive, it's somewhat factual depending on, it may not be timely, but we have this foundation of data that describes the companies we're targeting. And it applies throughout the funnel, right from the top all the way through to the end. But we have to agree that it is somewhat speculative because back to the trust, we can't trust everything that is on their website or in their annual reports or what have you. Now, the next type of, and if we think about the systems that is collecting this data aggregates in, well, clearly the marketing automation platform, some people dump this data into the CRM, maybe we have spreadsheets, slide decks, reports from our consultants. This is all of this research or metadata. Then if we look at the behavioral data, and this is really where this can only begin when somebody, our target account, is engaged with us. Right? So this is where we're actually getting the behavioral data. So it is, the things that they're actually doing and we're tracking, right? So it's marketing automation platforms. Maybe we're seeing it in Google Analytics or accounting systems here. All of these different systems that are collecting and aggregating this behavioral data. And somewhat it is inference-based. In other words, gee, they sure looked a long time at this web page. I think they're interested in that. Or they click this specific link, I think they're interested in that. But it's inference-based, but and it applies throughout the entire funnel from when the first person engages all the way through to where we're trying to deepen the relationship with our account-based marketing. And finally, direct interaction data, which I think I would state is factual, because where the person's explicitly stating it on a call, or they're chatting with our support folks, or they're looking at the online chat, or any of these types of things, but it's really personal, person-to-person engagement where we're collecting this data. And this data aggregates in our CRMs, call tracking software, email software, whether they're replying to emails or what have you. So it's a case that, and again, it applies definitely while we're on the opportunity stage and downstream, but let's face it, all of the data we're collecting, if we're doing it right, needs to feed back up the chain. Right, so that our what people say it changes the behavioral data. It's also, we want to change our foundational data, which is our metadata from the calls we have, or look at the behavioral data, change the relationship on the foundation. So really, there's a need to flow the data through upstream through all of the different tool sets. So really, I think that it's fair to say there's an integration and aggregation problem that we need to solve for account-based marketing. And with that, I'm just going to pass the presentation over to Franz, who's going to talk explicitly about the integration and aggregation problem. Franz?
Thank you, Sean. Thanks. Let's have a look. So 84% of businesses believe that data is essential to succeed in account-based marketing. But that's getting increasingly challenging, right? As Sean already mentioned, all those apps that are being used. In fact, the chief marketing technology blog, pretty renowned blog, now reports that enterprises on average use 91 different cloud services. And a lot of these apps, not all of them, but a lot of these will store customer data. A customer of ours summed up his frustrations with the cloud. And he literally said to me, it was a golden quote, he said, it wasn't the cloud's supposed to make things easier. And he was frustrated because cloud apps don't truly integrate with one another. And that prevents sales and marketing teams working with the different pieces of software from succeeding in that account-based marketing. The apps never really work in tandem like you want them to. But that's a normal reality. There's some difficulties with integration. The cloud software companies, that they really want to deliver on the promise of providing you with a solution of why you bought into them in the first place. But as long as the apps aren't integrated, it means your teams are working in data silos, or I like to call them islands of data. It's where customer data is constantly changing in one app, but not the other. It'll get messy, it'll get inconsistent. It'll force you to manually export, import data. And ultimately, it'll just have sales and marketing teams build up resentment towards one another because they just can't communicate with one another and they can't work together. It's not a healthy foundation to do your account-based marketing on. So yes, as Sean mentioned, it is very much a data problem. I'll illustrate this, showing off some platforms that I see typically used in today's business. I want to walk you through the imaginary example of Lois Lane. So if I'm doing my research on LinkedIn, I might be a BDR, a business development representative. So Lois here is part of the Superman Corp account that we're trying to acquire. And if I'm doing my research on LinkedIn, I may be using Persist IQ. Persist IQ comes into place. It sits as a plugin in my browser, but it really also is a complete platform leads on target accounts. So interesting, already what happened here as I pushed my LinkedIn data into this platform, I've taken a static copy of Lois Lane's LinkedIn information, imported it in this platform along with some attributes. And while that is happening, here's Google Contacts. This might be the G Suite environment of an account rep. And Lois could already exist as a contact inside that colleague's email platform. And it's a pretty personal relationship to be in Google Contacts because that also means that she'll sit right there in the account rep's phone contact list. Again, though, Lois's data siloed in a separate contact environment of Google. Again, an issue because the BDRs working alongside the sales staff aren't necessarily aware of this direct relationship. While this is all happening, the contacts data of the very same Lois Lane may already be sitting in active demand. I'm just waiting for the slides to advance. There's a delay. Go back one slide, sorry. So while this is happening, the contacts data of this Lois Lane is also in active demand, and where it's helping to drive all kinds of marketing automation processes. Sean will mention more about this later on. It doesn't end here. Base CRM, this is CRM. The CRM, the company's source system of record, links deals, opportunities to Lois, or anyone within the account. It's going to be the CRM that ultimately is going to state, well, is Lois an active or not an active customer, as you can see here by that attribute. Finally, Xero, which is accounting software, right? If Superman Corp becomes our customer, our department has her set up in Xero, and we can send invoices to her. Now, I think it speaks for itself that working on identical Loises in disparate systems can become a cause for irritation. You just have to get that data linked in all the apps that you're using. At PySync, we do think that we have a solution for this with two-way synchronization. It brings your contact data together in a full two-way sync with smart data merging, matching, and a rule engine to keep the data clean across the software stack. Just show you some examples of how we succeed. Remember that account rep's phone, right? The contacts on the rep's phone, they really can be the same as the ones that we have in active demand. How do we do this in PySync? Two simple rules. Oops, sorry. Let's go back there. The first rule, you really just make sure that we're excluding private contacts so that We're not mixing in personal contacts with business contacts to drop them in active demand. Although that second rule really ensures that anybody who is in active demand, but we could even include other filters, gets synced to the account rep's phone. And it's in a two-way sync. So the data, phone numbers, address information, it's all kept in sync. With Base, the CRM, I'm not having only the contact data kept in sync between the CRM and active demand. I'm also updating a custom attribute inside active demand. Let's have a look at that here. So the customer status of being a current or a past customer is dynamically updating a custom attribute inside active demand so that it can adapt campaigns accordingly. Here's Persist IQ, that platform that the BDRs might be using to do their account-based research. Obviously, I'm using that same custom attribute again, so that it's dynamically opting out to paying customers from the sales outreach campaigns. Because obviously, it'll be very awkward for BDRs to be reaching out to somebody like Lois if Superman Corp is already a paying customer. As a final safeguard, why not set up even a direct relationship with Xero, right? The billing relationship that we have with Superman Corp as an account, if we have invoices sent to this company, that may also indicate that this is a paying customer and that we need to market to these accounts differently. So I'm having that kept in sync as well. Integration doesn't always have to be hard and complex. And with a setup like this, we should have richer and smarter data inside the marketing platform. And it's constantly kept in sync. I'll pass it back to Sean now, because with this clean data set, we can set up personalization flows, which are key for account-based marketing.
Excellent, thank you very much. And definitely, I think it's clear that there is a data problem, there is an integration problem, but there are solutions to the data and integration problems. Now, if it's a case we have these problems solved, then really it's about execution, right? And if we have a good, clean data set, then it's very easy for us to drive personalization. And what I mean by personalization is using the concepts of contextualized content to accelerate the buyer journey. So it's a case that through the multiple touch points that we're changing our engagement on a personal level so that, again, we're in line with the identified buyer's needs, the state of the buyer journey, and what the account is specifically, the account initiatives. So the idea is to ensure that if this person ever comes back, we're not throwing them off of a cliff, so to speak, so that they have to start all over again and build the relationship that we've established with the prospect inside the target account. So a little bit about us is really, and I will talk about an example how we as a company use account-based marketing and how we keep our data sets aligned to do account-based marketing. So our tool set, really we're a full stack solution. We have the social media dissemination tools, email marketing tools, landing pages, call tracking, appointment scheduling, all of these different things in a single platform really enables us to collect, have a tool set that collects a lot of behavioral data and is able to use this behavioral data to drive marketing initiatives. So for one, we have this concept of dynamic personalized content, which I'll give you a quick overview of, and our behavioral segmentation tool set that allows us to synchronize content, advertisements, and messaging to a specific, not just buyer profile, but state of the buyer journey as well. And of course, we're a full marketing automation platform with the tools you would expect inside a marketing automation platform. And something that we bring to the table that is unique in this whole story is call tracking and the ability to analyze conversations for intent as well as to drive segmentation. And it's a critical element in the whole behavioral system to be able to tie direct engagement data back into the marketing program. So I'm going to just use a simple example of account-based marketing with the use of personalization. So as a company, we target many different industries, and in those industries we target specific accounts. So one of the industries, or I should say segments, that is important to us is marketing agencies. So with marketing agencies as being one of our segments, it is well defined as to, you know, what is the set of marketing agencies that could have a need for a platform such as Active Demand. So a great idea for us is to do account-based marketing in this specific segment. So we start off with the foundational data, which we're going to do the research and find the companies that we want to do business with, and we'll do the research data. We'll upload the target domains for the companies we're targeting. We'll do data enrichment and pull in, which is important to us, say the technology they're using. Very important is the logo, the size of the company, this type of stuff. So we know that they're an agency, but we're really interested in the platform, I should say, the foundational research data. And we'll also do our paid advertisements and contact aggregators to try to get people within these target companies. So once we've got our research data in play, one of the things that is typically involved in our marketing strategy is to get people to our website. So with Active Demand and our WordPress site, we're able to dynamically adapt the experience based on the buyer profiles and the target segments. And how we do it is we have support for what we call inline dynamic content on the website. We also have all of the contextual overlays on the website so we can maintain consistency across a multi-step journey. So it's a case that if we look at this example with account-based marketing, so we did our research, we found that there's this company, TopDraw, that's a marketing agency, and the CEO or the president being this fellow Adriel, and we're going to try to get Adriel to engage with us as a company. So let's say we're doing email marketing to Adriel. Adriel doesn't have, for example, maybe he doesn't have our agency portal. So when he clicks through our emails, or if he sees one of our social posts or any of our paid advertisements, if we get Adriel to the website is going to, one, know that he doesn't have the agency portal. It's going to inject his logo into the website. It's going to personalize the website, not just for Adriel, but for the stage of the buyer journey and his specific company. And of course, the overlays are as well going to be contextual for this state of the buyer journey. And if Adriel comes back, of course, different parts of the website are going to be personalized. You know, the reports embedded in the website are going to have the TopDraw logo as well as the TopDraw domain. And again, we're consistently going to be, if Adriel comes back several times, it's going to keep communicating to him that he needs to sign up for this free white labeled reporting portal. And of course, we're going to use, you know, and I think everyone here is familiar with retargeting. And, you know, if he's been on the website, we can do retargeting based on, you know, the targeted pixels on the website. So yes, he's going to start seeing ads that talk about, you know, he should go get his free account as an agency. Now, something that we're able to do as a platform is we can actually use behavioral targeting for our ads. In other words, data that is collected based on behaviors, we can dynamically adapt the audiences in the ad platform so we can change the state of the ads based on what's captured in Active Demand and not necessarily on the website. So some of the behavioral data that we can collect, definitely what they talk about on the phone, and as mentioned with Franz, with the accounting software or some of these other third-party apps, we can bring this data and dynamically push these audiences into the ad platforms based on their behaviors. So for example, let's say Adriel signed up for his free account, then the ads need to change, right? We now need to be going to our next stage of the journey, which is book a demo. Or if Adriel talked about having an interest in a specific CRM on the phone, then the ads need to be targeting Adriel about how well we work with the software that he's interested and talked about on the phone. So with our dynamic audiences and our behavioral system, we can change the ads the person sees, and definitely we can change the website. So now that Adriel is, let's say, signed up for this trial, the next stage in the buyer journey for us is he needs to book a meeting. So of course, our website is going to start gently persuading and our Adriel, as well as our emails are going to gently persuade Adriel to take the next step, which is to schedule a demonstration with our team. And of course, the overlays are now going to be talking about booking a demo as opposed to signing up for a trial. So you see the idea here is that because we're able to connect to our accounting systems, the chat software, the CRMs, all of these different systems, it's the case that we can maintain consistency through the engagement with this person, Adriel. And the results, we've definitely, it's well documented, is, you know, we've had a lift of 200% in conversion rates and page depth, time on site, session length. All of these things have increased dramatically for the accounts we're targeting because everything is in sync and it makes sense. So really, just stepping back a little bit, I think from a best practices perspective, I think that we need to get the data right. And I think with our foundation, our research data, it is speculative, but we need to put the effort in to get the data right. And we need the data flowing from our speculative data, from our behavioral engagement, and from our direct engagement through these different apps so that we can maintain consistency. We need the systems talking, and we need to leverage the behavioral data to accelerate the buyer journey. And during this process, because we have very narrow targeting, we can think about the emotional engagement, not just about consistency. And we can be delivering value to the person who's in the middle of a journey because we're giving them more of what they need to make a decision and suppressing the content that is of no importance to the individual. So in summary, I think that account-based marketing definitely has its unique challenges. And I think that building trust is by far the highest, and we need to address the reality of very short attention spans of our prospects and buyers, and the longer journeys, and the trade-offs that we faced as account-based marketers. And if we get a good, solid data strategy in play and the applications talking, I think that we're able to leverage personalization to accelerate the buying process. So with that, I think that's we're just going to turn things back over to Eric, and we'll start doing some of the Q&A section of this.